You're listening to the Banrion Show. It's 8 in the evening. Tune in every night at 8 to listen to the Banrion Show on Irish News Radio or itv.ie. And you can contact anything that you've heard or if anything you'd like to discuss at news@irishnews.net. Listening to the Banrion Show on itv.ie. Today is Wednesday on Irish News Radio. So today is Information Wednesday. So information on Islam. So a little bit easier than Gruesome Tuesday. So what we're going to be talking about is Ramadan, where it is, what it is, where it's from, and how it came about, and what does it mean. Now Ramadan goes back to Muhammad in the Quran. And his first battles himself were in the month of Ramadan. Now Ramadan is very much joined with jihad, and the reason being is in chapter 9 verse 111 it says that if you kill through Ramadan, that you'll go to paradise, but you will get double the reward. So basically you'll get even a better life in the afterlife. In English it says, Allah has purchased for the believers their lives and their properties. In exchange, you will have paradise to fight the cause of Allah. So if you kill the infidels, you will get double the reward. It's the bloodiest time of the year, so it's very, very important to know this time. It starts on May the 26th. What the media and everything are more worried about Muslims' feelings. You need to know what Islam is and where it's about. Muhammad was a brutal killer. He was a vicious, horrific warmonger who killed 800 Jews himself. The book is covered in Jew hatred. It is absolutely vital that you know about these things. The media try to hush it up. Like after the Manchester bombing, where the children were murdered, where they blew up these bombs, and it went not nail bombs, but pellets, like little nail pellets that exploded in their little bodies. And instead of the authorities were more concerned about so-called Islamic phobia than they were on cracking down Islamic and ISIS and Muslims in general. There's no point giving them loads of names like ISIS, Muslims. It's all the same thing. It's all the same ideology. Instead of cracking down and finding who they were, how they did this, they were more interested in protecting the mosques. And that's how scary the media and the government is in the Western world. That after their children were murdered, brutally murdered, blown up, that they were more worried about what the Muslims might feel than they were about their own children. Pretty shocking. So Muhammad has promised them in the afterlife, if they kill in Ramadan, they get double the reward. Also, to realize these bombings, where do you think they get the money from? There's something called Saka. And I'll talk about that in another information. But there is money. They are being paid to do this through those Muslim organizations. But they are being paid to blow up and kill. But they are also getting the reward in their heads in the afterlife. This is why it's very important, Ramadan, that you understand what it is and where it's from. And Muhammad himself killed through these times. He killed his own tribe. One of the battles that he had, his own tribe, he had 10,000 men on his own tribe to force Islam.
You are listening to Irish News Radio at irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.
It's the Banrion Show. Today is Information Wednesday. So we're talking about Islam on the Information Wednesday on itv.ie and Irish News Radio. So Ramadan. So we're talking about Ramadan and what it is. It's the bloodiest time of the year. It's where Muslims, if they felt that they've been bad in any way of their life, get a guarantee that they will go to paradise, but they will get double the reward when they go to paradise. How fucked up is that? So that is a real thing, and people saying it's Islamic phobic and trying for you not to understand it. You need to understand it. They are being paid from something called zakah, which is money that they give terrorists to kill the infidel. This Ramadan, they are guaranteed, if they were a bad Muslim, that they are going to paradise. It's the ultimate sacrifice of their Quran. In chapter 9, verses 11. And it tells Muslims, if they kill in jihad, that they will be going to paradise. And the way through the Ramadan, it's multiplied. So it's the bloodiest time of the year. Many Islamic attacks happen in the Ramadan. Like Ramadan is one attack after the other. And they say, oh, well, you see, Ramadan, Muslims killing other Muslims. Now, Muslims, they do kill other if they see that they're not following the Quran, or they're not doing this, or they're not doing that. And a lot of these attacks are actually on Christians. But when the media reports on them, they leave out the convenient fact that they're Christians, that they may be attacking in Egypt or some other place like that. Like they stopped a bus of Christians who were on their way to some Christian festival, and they shot them one by one, children along and all. They asked them, will you convert or die? And the ones who, if they were children or not, if they said they wouldn't convert, they got shot. Now, what media seems to skip out when they're telling these stories to confuse the issue, they don't tell you that it's Muslims that are killing these Christians in these lands, because then they can't call you a racist when you start talking about Islam, because if they start putting it as a race or their culture or their traditions, then they can't shout at you down. But they know it has nothing to do with these cultures or traditions. This is Islam, and wherever it goes, it's the same thing. So they kill these Christians, and all over the media, all the time when these Christians get killed in Islamic countries, they do not mention in the media that they were Christians and they're being persecuted, all in Islamic countries. Not to mention the amount of Jew hatred in the Quran. It's a whole month of jihad. That is what Ramadan is. It's to give your ultimate sacrifice to your fate. Now, Muhammad himself killed many, and through Ramadan was his most bloodiest season. Even through the early Muslim days, Allah's jihad was in early Ramadan. In his two battles, his main battles, the Battle of Banrion, where he went in and he attacked his own tribe to sell his people and to steal their goods. Now to this day, Muslims still celebrate that Battle of Barda, B-A-R. So it's, it was a battle in Saudi Arabia that there was, and there was another battle as well through the jihad, Muhammad himself. So jihad has been very much been part of Ramadan since the very beginning. It's attack on the infidels and anyone who is non-Islamic or not following the Quran in what they see in the correct ways. This is Islam. It's the bloodiest time of the year is Ramadan. So the Western media is creating this by this bullshit terms of Islamic phobia. There's no such thing as Islamic phobia. That word came from originally Islamic countries to shut up their people. Now it's in the West to shut us up. When Ramadan is, it's the best time to get out of whatever Islamic community you're in, because that is the time they're more likely. The higher the number of Muslims are in your country or in your area, the more likely there's going to be an attack, because that is their free pass. Until people start telling the truth about Islam and Muslims, we're living in this bullshit world where they blow and kill up and murder and rape, and everybody's more worried about their feelings than the people who are killed, murdered and raped and named in the name of feckin' Islam. We need to grow a backbone and say what it is. Ramadan is the most bloodiest time in the year because Muhammad, and because they get double paradise if they kill through Ramadan. So the most poorest person, most poor Muslim, think about it this way: they can't barely eat, they're like whatever, or maybe they're begrudging people walking and having this freedom and not having so many hiccups. All they do is have to take up a gun. Now, even if they don't have the money, there's something called zakah, which really does exist. So they get money to actually do this. So say they don't have the money to make these attacks, they can go to a mosque, they can go to different Muslims, and there is contacts to get zakah, because they're all the communities together. And if you think Muslims don't know when the attacks are, you're very much fooled by this bullshit media. Muslims all know what's happening. Ramadan is their ultimate sacrifice. Now, in Christian value system in the West, we see ultimate sacrifices, maybe, I don't know, giving your money up or maybe starving. For them, it's killing, to converting the non-believers, the infidels, or killing them. That's the most ultimate sacrifice, is to killing infidels through and becoming a martyr. And that, they get double. So that, in their little heads, that is why they're doing it. By calling people Islamic phobia is not going to cure this. You need to solve what it is, and that is Islam. And the only way by solving it is banning it into the West. Close down the mosques. Close them. Stop allowing it being practiced, because it's dangerous. Dangerous for everybody. If Muslims want to come in, tell them they can leave Islam at the door. If not, they can't come in. Stop taking money from foreign investments. Close down the mosques and give the foreign investments back. Thank you for listening on the Banrion Show. Today is Information Wednesday on Ramadan, what it really is and what it really isn't. It isn't really a time that the media likes to tell you, where they're just starving themselves. They're doing a lot more than that. They're planning your death. Thank you for listening on the Banrion Show.
You are listening to Irish News Radio at irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.
Listening to the Banrion show on Wednesday on Information Wednesday on ITV.ie and Irish News Radio. Today we're talking about Ramadan and what it is and what it isn't and what the media says it is and what it certainly isn't what the media says it is. Ramadan. Let's have a look and see what Muslims themselves and the teachings of Ramadan is thought. The month of Ramadan, a month of Allah grants military victories on his believers. During Ramadan, Muslims triumphed in many of their battles. Badr in 1624, Muhammad and the Quraysh tribe, conquest at Mecca 1630, Iberia, which is now Spain, Muslims defeated the Castranians near the which is now the Portuguese border. The commandment of the jihad, which is supreme importance of all times, assumes even greater importance and gains precedency over other commandments. Close connecting fasting and jihad. Jihad is the soul armed at restraining it from sinning, while second jihad is against the enemies, armed in preventing them from spreading corruption in the world. Moreover, fasting is a powerful means to prepare the soul for jihad, i.e. schooling oneself in obedience, devotion, resilience, and endurance, which are virtues of jihad. Fighting that allows them vanish their enemies. On Ramadan, Allah grants fighters a special strength despite, or rather virtue of the thirst fasting. Those who gain martyrdom during Ramadan are double rewarded in paradise. During Ramadan, the Muslims are especially beholden to protect the sacredity of Muslims' holy places and keep infidels from discrediting and threatening them. This is what Palestinian children learn now. The Children's Book of Jihad Fighting Group. Shirk loves jihad and jihad fightings. Take up arms and fight the war of jihad for Allah and for Muslims' lands and the virtue of jihad until you are dead. This is like little storytelling for them. This is also conferences during Ramadan. You get conferences and pamphlets, whatever it is. Come closer to Allah through the blood of the infidels. Go and fight against Allah's enemies, the heads of the believers, infidels from the tribe of Quraysh were sent flying. These are the sort of things that they are told in Ramadan. It is nothing but jihad. Muhammad himself had his best battles and killed many people through Ramadan. Fasting helps them, as they put it themselves. It focuses them into killing the infidels. It's to show their devotion through Allah, and that's what Ramadan is. And killing infidels is part of that. What the liberal media don't tell you. Unlike the time in Manchester when those children were killed, they were more worried about Muslims' feelings than they were about the children who were murdered, who weren't even cold in their graves, when they were talking about putting police on mosques rather than finding out how the children, what was going to happen, that they were killed, and how can we stop that again? No, they're more worried about people saying bad things about Muslims. That's how messed up it is, and that's how Muslims are winning. A stupid word, Islamophobic, which doesn't mean anything. Having an irrational fear about Islam. Well, if you knew anything about Islam, you would be having a normal fear. But this is what they're trying to stop you. And the media, the liberal media, is extremely dangerous with our scumbag governments creating this situation where jihad can take place. And Ramadan, the 29th of May, is a time to watch out. Eid is another time, but I'll talk about that another day. Thank you for listening on the Banrion Show. ITV.ie, Irish News Radio. If you'd like to talk about anything, please call in. Thank you. On 8 o'clock in the evening. Every evening we will be talking about different things. Tuesdays and Wednesdays we talk about Islam. Thank you very much for listening on the Banrion Show.
You are listening to Irish News Radio and irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.